What's up, everyone? DJ Anubis here with you on the Metal Town Radio podcast with another Kaiju Spotlight. Joined today by my good friend, the Sci-Fi Sentry from the Sci-Fi Society. Thank you, sir, for being here as we discuss the Kaiju Titanosaurus. Now, obviously, when I went and put together the list for those that would want to participate in different Kaiju Spotlights, you actually chose this one. Any particular reason why?
I guess because I wanted to show my appreciation and give about give my 2 cents on very underrated and is not really out there in the Godzilla community very much so because he's only been in one movie, and believe it or not, a lot of people in the Godzilla community and the Godzilla fandom, really enjoy and love Titanosaurus, and there's always there's a mystery. There's always a mystery behind them aside from just him coming out in the 70s Terror of Mechagodzilla, and I ever since I saw him back in the day, I just had to say, you know what, man, let's run something on Titanosaurus. And once you threw it at me, you pitched it. I was like, oh yeah, dude, let's do it, man, let's do it. So yeah, just to show that appreciation and give him a little bit of the spotlight, I guess, for once.
So Titanosaurus first appeared in 1975 Toho Godzilla film Terror of Mechagodzilla. He is basically the creature that was discovered by marine biologist Shinzu Mifune, who was undertaking experiments involving controlling sea creatures, which obviously led to him claiming that he had discovered the Titanosaurus and was able to control it, which, of course, cost him his job. And then we have a nice look of Titanosaurus there. He also had a daughter whom he worked with, and he was then approached by the aliens of the Black Hole Planet 3, which offered him to help get his revenge on the Earth and scientists that shunned him for his discovery. This was 15 years after the fact that he discovered it in the first place, so they all kind of thought he had passed away at that point. But obviously the aliens also were reconstructing and rebuilding Mechagodzilla again to take over the planet. So what was your first experience seeing Titanosaurus in this movie? When did you first see it?
Oh man, I think I saw it back in the 90s, probably 90. I would believe either 93, 92 or 93, and I rented it because I saw it at a place called Castle Video, and I I was like, what? I've never seen this before. Like it's just another Godzilla film that I never knew about, and I caught it and I rented it, and I even like kept it for like 2 extra days because I'll pay a late fee. I don't care. Uh, and I first saw it probably back. It was probably back in 92 or 93. And yeah, it's like any other Godzilla film that I see. I loved it. Titanosaurus was to me, I he was the breakout star in that one. He was the main antagonist, and because I'm not saying it in no bad way, anything like that. I got respect for Mechagodzilla, but I'm not the biggest Mechagodzilla fan. But but yeah, Titanosaurus to me was the focal point of that film, and like as you mentioned, Dr. Mafune's daughter, her name was Katsura.
Mhm.
Was it Katsura? Yeah, Katsura, and yeah, it's typical Toho style monster action, and yeah, I mean a continuation to the first Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. So yeah, that's when I saw it. I saw it about 93 or 94. It's hard to say, but yeah, it's just another film that that added just gonna add it to my collection. And like I said, I rented it. I think I actually kept it like 3 more extra days just because I kept watching it.
Might as well have bought it by then. I remember there
Yeah.
used to be for the video stores, like at one point, if you had it for too long, like you would end up having to pay, like buy it from them, which they would just
Hmm.
charge your card or something. So I think that probably happened to me a couple of times where I just liked the movie too much and they didn't want to return it right away. So I ended up having to buy it anyway from them. They're like, well, you've already bought it. You've paid the $80 or whatever it is. I'm like, fuck, but I do like it. So I'll just keep it.
Wow, 80 bucks for a VHS. Wow.
Well, the funny thing was, of course, it's off topic a little bit, but when I was working at the bookstore for Crown Books way back in the 90s, when we were still using the microfiche to look up books for people that wanted special orders, well, you could do it for VHS movies too. So that VHS that I have of The Crow was one that I bought ahead of time because I could actually order it before it even got released to any stores. And
Okay.
because, like I told people at the time, like I said, well, because of Brandon's death, I wasn't sure if they were going to release it because, I didn't know how it was going to impact with the death. And if the Lee family said, maybe we don't want to put it out there because out of respect for Brandon. But, a lot of people told me, so, well, dude, they're going to put it out there. They are. So, but for me, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So when I saw it in the microfiche, I was just goofing off saying, I wonder if the Crow's in there. And I saw it and I said, that's crazy. I can order this thing. It literally came within a week. So I had that VHS probably like 2 or 3 months before everybody else. So I'm just watching the shit
Mhm.
out of it. And everyone's like, dude, you got this. Where'd you get this? I said, I got my ways. I got my ways. Never mind the time I
That's
paid $80 for it, but I said I got my ways.
okay.
But
Cool.
yeah,
No, I
so
just had to ask. Good info.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think the first time I saw this particular movie had to be like the early 2000s because, like I said, the 90s, I didn't even know there was this much kaiju stuff being put out there. So by the time after G 2000 and then Final Wars, and I'm like, start catching up, I'm like, dude, there's all these movies I haven't seen. Then I didn't even remember Terror of Mechagodzilla because at the time, as a kid, I saw Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, Godzilla versus Gigan, Megalon, and so on, because those are the ones that were mainly being shown. So when I saw Terra Mechagodzilla, I thought, well, when was this put out? And then it's like, a year or two after the other one. So I'm like, I never
Hmm.
saw this. So I had to go watch it. At first, I probably wasn't as impressed because I love the first one so much with Mechagodzilla. Like it's one of my all time favorites. But over the years, this one has grown on me a little bit. I am very fascinated by Titanosaurus and whether or not it's a very strong kaiju or what it can be done with it in a modern day setting. So the other thing was interesting because we do consider Titanosaurus basically like a dinosaur, like Godzilla, of course, and all that. But does it just me, or just Titanosaurus sort of remind you a little bit of the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3? Does it kind of resemble that a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah, it's got characteristics, especially the long, like the kind of long snout and the fins, and especially the fin in the back. And oh
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, well, like I said, this was a '75, and uh, Jurassic Park 3 wasn't until like the early 2000s. So I mean,
yeah.
I think there's inspiration. There's inspiration from there. I mean, they're just like, a lot of people ain't gonna mention it. But they're like, but yeah, I could see the similarities.
Why do you think it is that we've never seen him again? Like, we see this with occasional with other kaiju that do one and done appearances, but why do you think Titanosaurus never made it back to the screen?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of
Do you
hard.
just
That's really hard to say, man.
do you not think it's like a sexy enough kaiju? Like people just aren't very interested in it.
Oh no, I mean, any if Gabra still gets love from the Godzilla community, then come on, Titanosaurus is a high celebrity compared to Gabra. So that's
Right?
like yeah, I just think to me, there's still that mystery about him, man. Like, I mean, he's see, and I'm gonna talk about another, uh, I guess, dinosaur type of kaiju, and that's Gorosaurus. And we
Yeah,
haven't seen Gorosaurus since Destroy All Monsters. And like, I mean, luckily he had one, two, he was in two movies. But I don't know, man. I mean, that was the Toho era's, how do you say it?
golden age.
Tipping the hat off, tipping the hat off and saying, you know what, this is the end of the Toho Showa era. And they took a good long time off. And then, I don't, it's really hard to say, man. Anybody can come up with their own perception or their own answer, but I don't want to be like everybody else and just say, oh, give. I just think that it's. I mean, could they make, let's say, a fan film, maybe, of Titanosaurus, but making the suit, those types of content creators that are taking that much money and putting that much money into getting suits or making suits, you know, for those specific videos that they put out. It's a lot. It's a tall order, man. But if they're willing to do it, that's the closest I can say that we can get a film for Titanosaurus. But I really couldn't tell you why. Um, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have said, well, we really don't know, but that's just my take on it.
Well, Titanosaurus, as far as like weaponry and abilities, obviously he has that nice little fin tail that spreads out and he starts kicking it up a lot, which can generate to like, I don't know, 320 meters per second or something of that sorts. And even as tall as he is and kind of lanky, he can jump pretty high when defending against jets and stuff like that. Although it's kind of funny watching the video of that where he's basically just kind of stationary, jumping in the air. You don't see the arms flailing or anything. So it's kind of funny how they were shooting that at the time. Uh, let's see. He is primarily an aquatic creature. He can get up to pretty good speeds in the water. And then he also has like a sonic wave, which is kind of interesting for him because that's also one of his weaknesses is that sonic waves can hurt his ears, which is one of the ways they end up defeating him in Terror of Mechagodzilla. So, what do you think is current like about his current abilities, and do you think it's pretty impressive? Do you think it could have been better? How do you look at that?
No, I think I think they're very very impressive. I mean, for him being basically more of an aquatic creature, he can move out on land with ease, and yeah, his upper body is a little lanky, but his lower body is he's got really powerful legs, can jump, has as much as he is agile in the water, he's still kind of agile out in land, and he's pretty. He's also pretty durable, even though he's an aquatic creature. He's very durable and fast, powerful, still tall. One of the taller Toho Showa era kaiju's, and he's strong, man. He's powerful, and I think you know, I did like the fact that they didn't give him any special like abilities like a sonic like eye beams or a sonic roar or like maybe other abilities he can have like a sonar on land. Maybe he can have like read a sonar on land, stuff like that. And the sky's the limit as far as him not having any like say like Godzilla's heat ray or Ghidorah's gravity beams, or Rodan's supersonic flight, or Mothra's uh, poison pollen, and Anguirus's highly durable, skin and carapace and horns and everything. So, but I think for him, as far as his abilities, I think they're top notch, man. For him individually as a unique kaiju, because he is very unique. Like all the Toho kaiju's, he's also very unique.
Yeah, I noticed he's also very strong. So I noticed that when he bites Godzilla's nose, he can lift him up with his head, which is pretty impressive to be able to do that
Hmm.
for his size. Because like you wouldn't see that normally. Think seeing him like that strong, especially with his mouth and stuff. So that it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's funny because if Toho or Legendary decided to kind of reimagine him, just think of like the possibilities that are endless with that kind of creature with the modern CGI that we saw with King of the Monsters and even -1. So like I just think to myself, wow, it's like it'd be really cool just for even if it's just for Toho to kind of go back to some of these creatures and just do like origin stories and see how they go. Like I know they won't do it, but it'd be a lot of fun just to kind of see what the kind of like the technology they have now and the things you can make with it and even add some things if you wanted to. Like I know like in one game Titanosaurus can shoot like fireballs or something weird like that. So I just think that
Well,
with
well,
go ahead.
can I add? He did come out. He did come out in a video game called Godzilla Unleashed for the Nintendo Wii.
Mhm.
And how crazy! How crazy! Now that I thought about it, I didn't think about it. He did have like a sonic, like a sonic, like ray coming out of his mouth because they all had to give him something. Even
Yeah.
Varan. Professor, if you're watching, Professor, if you're watching, or when you watch, Varan is in that game too. He is. And yeah, but yeah, he came out in that game, and like that game was really. I wish I would have got it. I could have bought it, but I was like, you know what? The reason why I wanted to get it is because all of the Toho monsters were on there. Varan, King Caesar, Titanosaurus. The only one they didn't put in was Kumunga. It's kind of hard to put Kumunga since he's since he or she's an arachnid. But
Right.
yeah, he did come out in that video game, and he did have like a sonic, like a sonar, maybe. I don't know. I can't say, but he did come out in that video game. Plus, before if we when we get more to it, he did come out in a few Godzilla comic books as an Earth Defender, and he's considered an Earth Defender. So
Hmm. Yeah, I did see because even in the movie Terror Godzilla, like a lot of his aggressiveness was due to mind control by the professor and what his intentions were for Titanosaurus. But when Titanosaurus wasn't being controlled, he was a very laid back, meek creature that would just rather go back and into the sea and chill and not bother anybody. So that was kind of an interesting take on it. Almost like a predates the Shimu character a little bit, because Shimu is also very timid and just chill. No pun intended, but you know, she'll just sit back as well, but she was being used for nefarious purposes, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah. Like, yeah, I agree. And see, well, here's another thing. Now that you mentioned that, man, and I was kind of thinking about it when before we were gonna do it. That another type of thing that I think about is that why is it that the calmest, chillest people are the ones you never fuck with?
Right.
Like like me, when I was I just want to say I want to say I can relate to that, because when I was a kid, you know, I was a total like pacifist, man. I treasured everything people gave me. I was very calm, very chill, very, I guess you could say, meek. I was very like how can I put it, like I was a
Just
very
laid
timid,
back.
young boy. And but once they started trying to pick on me, man, like everything changed, bro. And I just started, I started beating the shit out of bullies, and I started defending myself and all of that, and I guess in Titanosaurus's, I guess in for him, he's just that type of creature that just wants to be left alone. He was actually referenced as another Okinawan guardian. No, was he? No, he wasn't an Okinawan guardian. He's a sea creature, but he was Katsura had a connection to Titanosaurus, but him knowingly being calm, reserved, a peaceful creature. But look what happened when he put him under my control, man. I don't even think, man, I don't even think they needed Mechagodzilla. I even think Titanosaurus could have wrecked Mechagodzilla.
Ooh, whoa,
Well,
bold
well, I mean,
statement
it's
there.
like, well, I mean, come on, I mean, come on and do this. This just one. Roast you a little bit, because I know you're, hardcore, hardcore, hardcore Mecha Godzilla, fanboy and everything like that. So I'll throw it out there. Mecha Godzilla in this one, man, really couldn't do anything. Like, he was already, like, they rebuilt him, but he went down even quicker than he did in the second than he did in the first
It's
one.
true. Very
And
true.
to me, Titanosaurus was the one, pulling all the weight. He was the one, literally, dragging the load, man. And I could have easily said, like, man, I kind of did say when I saw it, and I saw it, what, I think 3 days ago. I said, man, it's like, God, Mechagodzilla was kind of useless in this movie, man.
Yeah, when I think about it now, like, even there's that moment in the video, the trailer, the intro, where Titanosaurus steps in front of Mechagodzilla. It's almost like he's trying to protect Mechagodzilla from getting hurt.
Yeah. Nah, but I just kidding, man. But I just had to bust your balls a little bit like that, But
Well,
no,
I mean,
this Mechagodzilla was no.
I'm not like the biggest Mechagodzilla fan. I mean, I do obviously like Mechagodzilla, but uh, I've said it before that the one they did for 2021 was better than all of them, just because it never got tired. If it wasn't for Kong, it probably would have killed Godzilla. That was how strong that one was. Uh, but we do know that also most of the Mechagodzillas were always controlled by humans or aliens. It was never its own thing until the 2021 version of it that decided to like go rogue. And that was, of course, tied to Ghidorah in a lot of ways. But yeah, so anyway, back to Titanosaurus. If they did try to reimagine it, what would you like to see in terms of abilities, or maybe even different look? Would you change up the look any, or would you add to it? How would you do that?
I would keep with tradition. I would keep it with tradition, but still just add little things, like add sharper teeth, bigger, stronger, powerful claws, legs. Make his tail fan even bigger because it'll if you make the tail fan even bigger, so that way he can generate even like more hurricane like winds. And but I would like to keep him the way he is, like maybe add like that little a little kind of like a weapon that his body can generate aside from the tail fan. But I think tweak it up a little bit, but still keep it with tradition. Like that's how I would like to see it, man. And I still love the fact that even in the film that Titanosaurus did that little thing like a karate type of you know like that. Yeah, when he's about to unleash the tail fan. And then when he's done, he does his little, it's like a little, how can you say, like he's prepping, like he
Yeah.
preps for it. And I
Psych
thought that was
yourself
cool.
up.
Yeah. I mean, it was the '70s, man. But I thought that was cool. But as far as like, that's what I like about it. Incorporate that if it was reimagined. And but I still would say keep it with the Toho style that he was created by, and just tweak it up.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him also maybe a little more streamlined. So basically, despite the fact that he is kind of on two legs, that he might be able to crawl on four if he wants to for speed and acceleration. But you might
Yeah.
have to like kind of make him a little bit stockier, like the neck can't be quite as long. But that'd be kind of cool, I think, almost like a full dragon like type of thing.
No, yeah, no. See that I wouldn't mind that either. I mean, they can make the neck a little bit, make it a little bit long, make a little bit longer, not too much, but make it thicker. And because like I said, I keep going back to the fact that he's still very durable for an aquatic creature. And he took Godzilla to like look at those legs, man. Look at those feet. Like even the chest muscles, like man,
Yeah,
like that's
he's got some
like
pecs.
yeah, dude. Like I mean,
Now here's
and
a drawing
and
that
like I
kind
said,
of remind me of the Spinosaurus a little bit.
yeah, just make the arms a little bit bigger, make the legs a little bit bigger,
Yeah, he's
and the
got
neck a
chicken
little bit
legs.
thicker. Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like he's still powerful, man, and he took Godzilla. Like I said, he took Godzilla to the limit. Is stronger than what anybody would have thought. And I think to me, they should have just said they should have made this movie Godzilla versus Titanosaurus. That's what they should have just done.
Yeah, because the more I think about it, the more you're right. They Mecha Godzilla is like an afterthought, really, in this film. Compared to Titanosaurus, so it's really like kind of weird. But I guess they at the time they figured, which was strange because if you have Godzilla, most people are going to go see it anyway. But it's almost as if they didn't put Mecha Godzilla in there, no one would go see it. But because I guess after the '74 version, they wanted to do a sequel, which I guess Mecha was going to be the draw. Maybe I don't know. But it is strange it didn't focus more, or at least on the title with Titanosaurus.
I mean, I still can't. We still can. None of us can all take away what happened in 70. Was it 74? Right? Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, the first one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Mechagodzilla was fuck. Like that Mechagodzilla was on a whole other level, man. And this is just him rebuilt, but nowhere near the same. Nowhere near the same he was. Not even close to the same. And
Yeah.
he basically just it's like they just used him for the weapons. That's it.
Yeah.
But he was
Like I said,
yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say the first one. Uh, One of the more memorable moments is when Mecha is fighting both King Caesar and Godzilla, and he sticks his foot up on a rock, and he just starts looking. He puts his head one way, and then the body and the arms the other way, and he just starts going off with missiles and lasers, and he's just whipping their ass all over the place. This one just did nothing, like nothing impressive. Just kind of just did its walking, and that's it. Didn't really showboat or anything.
I mean, it's like I said, like I, in my opinion, Titanosaurus was the one that shined, and I mean, I did like the fact that when you will see, because if they didn't, and now I'll add this, if they didn't add a, a weakness to Titanosaurus, it would have been much harder for Godzilla to defeat him
Mm-hmm.
if they didn't, add a weakness. And I mean, after Titanosaurus, I mean, don't get me wrong, Godzilla put in his licks, pretty rough too on Titanosaurus, but and then got when Mechagodzilla said, let me intervene a little bit, because I want to get in on the action, even if I just shoot him a little bit. And then Titanosaurus did all the work, and then Godzilla was he was in the ground for that time being until he got energy and came back up and everything. But I mean, it's what I mean, man. But Titanosaurus has had so many different abilities and stood out so much. And it's like I said, I'm not bashing Mechagodzilla, but the way they portrayed Mechagodzilla in the second film, it's like he was just there for support and fell apart really quick because the fact that he was rebuilt never the same.
He's like the trophy
And
wife.
man, but yeah, 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 and but that's why I did like that they added a weakness to Titanosaurus.
In your mind, like, because they don't really expand on it other than the fact that Titanosaurus was a sea creature that was discovered by a Mifune. Like, but in your mind, like, what do you theorize is the origins of Titanosaurus or where it came from? Like, in your whether it's just a fantasy or like what your belief system is of where Titanosaurus actually came from.
Well, I think like Godzilla, he's millions of years old. Going all the way back to the Cretaceous or the Jurassic period, and just kept to himself. Was very elusive until, I mean, did they even, I don't even know if I remember because I saw, but I don't remember if they said, they didn't give us a really detailed, specific reason to how Katsura was able to even connect with Titanosaurus or anything. Well, we gotta remember she was a cyborg, or she was a half cyborg,
Right,
but
right.
um, I don't know. But as far as that, he's like any other giant reptile from that era. Before the dawn of man, he just probably kept to himself. Lived off the ocean. Went to the surface when he had to or whatever, and then get some sun and then get back down. And I mean, if there was any other creatures his size, I don't think any other he was never in danger of anything else. So, I mean, that's all I can really think about. Just him being very, like I said, well, he's very a very solitary creature, peaceful, solitary, and likes his
Yeah,
solitude.
yeah, yeah. And it's an interesting thing. That's one thing I can appreciate about the MonsterVerse right now is that they give us a reason why these titans like exist and why they're not like in huge numbers. Like we have like almost one, at least like the mutos might have one or two where they have to coexist together. But as far as the other ones, it's almost like they're just solitary and they just live out their time. Like Godzilla, I guess they just figured Godzilla is more of just like almost like the unisex where if he passes away another one will be born, almost gamma like or whatever. But I do like that the Monsterverse kind of just plays off of that idea that we don't need to have like an island of a bunch of Titanosauruses. We just have like we would have one out there somewhere, or one Godzilla, or one Rodan, or whatever. So that's the cool thing about them because then you can kind of really view them as godlike in their own way, which makes it kind of cool. Obviously, Mothra, she rebirths a lot, but that's sort of her history too. So I kind of look at Titanosaurus as just one of these creatures, much like the other Titans that probably existed at some point when they had more than one, but it's kind of like the last of its kind. So it does spend its time by itself, not engaging in battles, just trying to stay out of trouble and hidden from the world, basically.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's very. I mean, you have good points. Like you have a lot of good points that he was we can really see him or view him as an alpha titan. You know, like
Hmm.
an alpha titan, but specifically just stays in a certain place where if they, like you said, if he does, if one passes away after a certain amount of thousands of years, then another one's reborn, or because that's the beauty of the imagination, and even Toho, creators, uh, Shiro Honda, Tomiyuki Tanaka, Eiji Tsuburaya, and so that's the beauty of the imagination of what people can add to in a story. And then, like, okay, like say for instance, when I think, I don't know if it was Rulers of Earth or if it was one of the IDW comics that Titanosaurus helped Godzilla fight off Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, like, the Titanosaurus, not really having any types of other powers aside from his brute force, his amazing strength and agility and stuff. And, like, I mean, man, like, that would be kind of like in a, people would, I mean, maybe other uh, people in the Godzilla community would think that a mismatch, but I don't think underestimating uh, a creature like Titanosaurus and him, helping Godzilla fight, Space Godzilla, is like, that shows a lot in itself, how powerful he is and how ferocious he can be as an Earth defender.
Yeah.
And in one comic, I think it's Godzilla Rivals. There was another, I think it was another kid or a girl, I don't know, it was a kid that had a bond with Titanosaurus, and they wanted to use him again as a weapon, like they did with Katsura, but in the modern age.
Yeah.
So, like, they see, I guess, in other people, other people and creators, illustrators, storytellers can see Titanosaurus for more than what he is, and just a giant dinosaur that has a fan for a weapon, that has a tail fan for a weapon. But I see a lot that can be done with him. And but as far as that, man, like, I could think, you're putting just as much as good points as as anybody, man. So that's why that's what I have to throw out there too.
Well, yeah, I think that's the kind of cool thing when we're talking about kaiju in general. Godzilla's always had like some sort of story to tell because he's the main figure in everything that we talk about kaiju related. But when it comes off to these one-off creatures that we don't get to see very often or have ever seen again, we have to kind of make up our own little stories aside from like the comics or specialized cartoons that have been done about these creatures. But for myself, like, since I don't see a lot of that, I have to kind of like just create my own like origin from where some of these creatures come from, or a fantasy. So like when I told you about Neko, her idea for Rodan being part of the early Aztecian god, sun god worship, or the devil god, and so it's like that would be a cool setup for an origin for Rodan. It doesn't have to have Godzilla in it. It could be Rodan versus whatever other creatures existed at that time. So that's a cool story that probably hasn't been told at any level. So yeah, it's
Can I
kind of
add
neat to
something?
kind of go back. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Add something, like, now that I think about it, it can be like for like Titanosaurus, like, say I don't want to say Atlantis because everybody uses Atlantis, especially in the ocean, But say there was another type of civilization in the ocean that, like deeper into the ocean, or say, let's say the before hitting the Hollow Earth, that Titanosaurus is their god. Like, he's considered their god, their guardian, their like, say when their uh, civilization is threatened, Titanosaurus, rises from the depths literally, and defends against, say, other titans, other kaiju's, other threats. And any you can think of any kind of little thing, like like what they did with certain things, like they did with Wakanda Forever, with using the Aztecs underwater, and
It's actually a great point
but that
because you could do like almost going into Lovecraft with Dagon, and Titanosaurus is like the Earth Defender against Dagon and its cult followers or whatever creature they want to conjure up from the sea. That'd be kind of a cool concept, you know?
hmm yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why you but like you can change it up. You know what I mean? You can change it up and say these no oh what do you call it? You can say these say
Cody,
howdy. Hi, you say you wanted some
Cody,
screen time. Okay, we know. But
such a pretty
go ahead, go
dog.
down. Go down. No, but like you can make them Native American, give them their own type of ethnicity,
Hmm.
and say, well, you know what, uh, they can call them the Titanic one. Oh, the Titanic one. We need his assistance. Tiamat or some. An offspring of Tiamat is attacking. Attacking our civilization, and we're a small civilization. Titanosaurus goes there, wipes Tiamat's offspring. Wipes them off the face of the sea, and that's it. Goes on to go back to where he dwells or whatever. And but
Yeah.
it's like it's like you can make it like that's how cultures are created are created. And like I can see something like that as far as for Titanosaurus, being very solitary. And aside from him being controlled, look at him being look how he is being controlled. Look how powerful he is being controlled. Imagine if he's angered, or
Yep.
imagine if his home is being threatened, how much more ruthless and more aggressive he's going to be, and be able to to show even more of his true power, as far as creating his own little followers, not followers, but his own little like historical reference, as far as an underground or an underwater, let's say, kingdom or something like that.
Yeah. Well, finally, what do you think ultimately be Titanosaurus's legacy as a kaiju? Like going down the road, if he's never brought back, what do you think his legacy will be with kaiju and kaiju fans alike?
He's always going to be a legend. He was created towards the end of a wonderful and the first era, Godzilla era. He has thousands of fans, us included, that still keep we could still keep that positivity going, that he will be brought back, even if it's in more comics, more books, more novels, um video games, anytime, anything like that. Like he already has a legacy, just being a part of Toho, just being a Toho kaiju, and that's already a legacy enough. And it's unfortunate that there's a lot of other Toho kaiju's that only came out in one movie. But I just think his legacy would be his legacy will just be that he's always going to be one of a kind. There you go. Like a
One of
lot
a
of them
kind.
are. He's always going to be
Yeah.
one of a kind, and always. But even when our bones are dust, he's always going to be remembered. Like all Toho kaiju.
True. All right. Well, you have anything coming up on your channel, or are you just taking a break for now? Any shows coming up?
No shows. Still gonna be getting with you and talking with you more about how we can run Event Horizon down the line. Probably on your channel more likely, and then just be expecting a lot more video game content, especially with Kazan the First Berserker, because I'm literally hooked onto that game. And so far, I do have next Thursday, and these are next. No, I think it's next Monday. Maybe next Monday. I really have to look that up and get my mind right. But I will be. Um, on Kevin Lambert's channel, and I will be educating him on the legacy of Spawn, Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
Spawny.
Yep, and as far as that, oh, and Jedi Grant Bill's got some stuff coming up, but he's gonna keep us all updated on that. But so far, I think that's it for now. Oh, and Legend. Yeah, I think me and you are gonna be on for Legend with Kevin Lambert on the Entertainment Headquarters.
Yep. So tomorrow.
Give me a second, man. I'm sorry. Hold on. Give me a second.
You're good. So yeah, tomorrow I'll be on their Legend review with Kevin Lambert at Entertainment Headquarters, along with Sci-Fi Sentry there. Saturday, I will be doing Ghouls of Midnight later in the evening with Mr. Tony Aded. It will be his pick of Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage. Next Tuesday, I'll be hooking up with Kevin Lambert again for my Cinematic Synergy podcast, and he's made the selection of Mimic from 1997 for us to review. And I think Anthony Jordan's going to guest appear with us. Maybe Tony the Dead. I'm not sure yet. And then after that, I haven't really said too much. But later in the month, as the NFL season approaches, I'll be hooking up with Edgar Allan Poe to do a pre-NFL draft discussion, as well as the first draft night of NFL, which I'll be doing with Poet towards the end of the month. But outside of that, not a whole lot. But as always, Sentry, thank you very much for joining me on this. It's been a lot of fun. This is a great dude. Please go and like and subscribe to the Sci-Fi Sentry. He's got a lot of great content in there, and he's talking about that game. I've seen other YouTubers playing that game, so it's catching fire. So a lot of people enjoy that Berserker game right now. So check it out. It's got to be better than Assassin's Creed Shadows, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't even go there. Yeah,
you're right. But yeah, thank you all for watching this. Hit the like and subscribe, please. Any comments about Titanosaurus? Let us know your thoughts on this particular kaiju. If not, we'll see you next time on the Metal Time Radio podcast, and take care of yourselves.